Alright guys, we're back with Dokkanfest Baby once again, this time with the dupe fed in. Link levels have started to be increased. We have big bad bosses at level 10 and a couple other links at level 10 as well, and the rest all at level 9. So we should be seeing some noticeable differences, and we also have some corroded body and mind units on the team as well to benefit from the support and give Baby his damage reduction. So this is probably one of the better setups you can have from him right now, and I think it looks sick. So he is starting with a 655k attack stat and 273k defense. I'm going to slide him in slot 1. I'm going to hold on to the domain for now, just because we only have one Omega Shenron this time around, and I want to make the most of the domain once Super Baby 2's out, and then we can see what he can really do. So there is that 70% chance to dodge. Can you do it again for me? Of course you can. And we're starting with a 19.6 milli attack stat. Are you seeing how important it is to have big bad bosses at level 10 links, or at least somewhere near, so you don't have to lose so much HP? His attack has jumped up so much from when we tried him at the bare minimum of 55% and level 1 links. Like, I remember it being, I think, in the realms of like 11, 12 mil, and we're just almost shy of 20 mil, purely by a dupe, and primarily big bad bosses being at level 10. Nice to see his 70 and then 80% chance to dodge working. Of course, that extra 10% kicking in when he does attack with 12 or more ki. Now, we don't have a full corroded body and mind rotation next rotation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to float Rose off. I do want the Carnival LR there. However, I'm going to wait to get him there for the time being, just so for now he can go into slot 1. And then eventually I'll have him on rotation with the Carnival LR. That is one thing that is going to kind of potentially prolong boosting Baby even more if you do want the full damage reduction and 30% crit chance once he gets into Super Baby 2, is the fact that, you know, to trigger it, you need a full rotation of corroded body and mind units. However, you do kind of want to run in with Omega, even if it is on Baby's lead and there is only one, because one, they link very well together. You know, GT extreme type units, of course, they can link quite well together. Not only that as well, the extra stats and boosts that Baby's going to be getting from Omega's domain. So you kind of have to float Omega, or essentially plan to float Omega. So for you to have the domain up, I mean, you know, you could sit Omega on the opposite rotation, but unfortunately you then miss out on some links. You know, you can still have big bad bosses active. I don't think it's too much of an issue if you just have big bad bosses and maybe like one other link currently active. But you do miss out on some important links by moving them away from Omega. At least you can still benefit from the domain with Omega on an opposite rotation as well. So it kind of depends what you value a bit more. Or you can set it up to where you pop the domain, you have them together on a rotation, someone else goes in slot 1 like Carnival L or Rose, then while the domain's up, the other corroded body and mind unit then eventually floats onto rotation. So right now we still don't have it. Although our dodge chance, of course, has now increased. He still keeps that 70% chance to dodge in Super Baby 2 and guaranteed guard. The best part right now is the fact that we do have a corroded body and mind category ally on the same rotation. So Goku Black is going to be getting 60% extra attack from Baby. I just don't think we're going to be able to see him benefit from that support. And now we get the extra 20% chance to dodge when we attack with 12 or more ki, which we're going to get right now. So we have that all amazing 90% chance of total dodge. And another reason why I really like also having that corroded body and mind support, 27.1 mil. Now we're stacking 20% attack and defense each time we super. And we did also get 3 orbs. So that's 30% crit chance and 120 attack. And we did get 5, so that's another 120 and another 30% chance to crit as well. Unfortunately, we did miss out on it, and there's the 90% dodge chance. Perfect. Baby doing exactly what it needs to be doing as almost a dodge or die unit. But I really do like the corroded body and mind support because of the units that can benefit from the corroded body and mind support. You know, I know there aren't many And hopefully, you know, over the next celebration or two, we can see some more corroded body and mind units, some more corroded body and mind EZAs. But when you think of some of the units that can really benefit from it at the moment, there's some heavy hitters in there. Carnival LR Rose being one of them. Love that a lot. That's 60%. That's a lot of attack to add on already quite a high damaging unit. Even the free-to-play Goku Black, the Zamasu version, even him benefiting from that as well, I think is pretty sick on top of that. And then, yeah, do you know what? I'll rotate them now. Yeah, I'll rotate them now. Could have got Baby all the orbs. I don't know why I decided to ignore all those strength orbs in the middle. I just need him to dodge. That's all I need from him in slot 1. I need the friend one to dodge. Are you going to dodge? Perfect. That's another unit that can benefit from it. If we do eventually see, I know it won't be coming in this celebration, but if we do eventually see in a decent time frame, not too far down the line, Int Margin Vegeta is another unit that can benefit from the support later on down the line. You know, units like EZA LR Janemba and the Tech Transforming Janemba can benefit from the support as well. You know, if you want to maybe try fit them onto teams and go for, again, a dodge or die build. AGL Rose can benefit from it on top of that, not to mention he's also supporting units with the extreme support as well. There's a couple units in there that can really benefit from it. It's still such a shame that they decided to continue the ban on the Int Great Ape Super Baby 2. You know, the one that recently got an EZA with all those GT units during GDC. Still really weird they kept that. I would have thought after all these years they would have removed that little ban they got going on, but for some reason they decided not to, and I really don't know why, because then we could have seen him pretty much perfectly partnered up with this new baby, especially because of how good his EZA is, and you would have always had a permanent corroded body and mind unit next to him, and also almost a perfect link partner next to him as well, if not bang on perfect. Do they share all the same links? 6 out of 7. I mean, almost perfect, as I said. So it's such a shame that they continued to ban. Really annoying that they did as well. But it is what it is. For some reason, Dokkan decided to keep that, even though they EZA 2 units during GDC that were banned since forever in Dokkan, and we don't even really get to use them. So what we're sitting on right now, we have a 1,000,007 attack stat, 388k defense. Of course, that Scouter is well in play right now. Constantly seeing that super attack in slot 1, which is great. We do have Omega's Domain active, which is also very, very nice indeed. I'm hoping we get to have a rotation dodge. Of course, 90% chance to dodge. I'm already up to 33.88 million. And of course, because we did get 3 and 5 orbs, again, that's an extra 120 attack twice and 2 sets of 30% crit chance as well. I don't think Baby has let me down with his dodge yet. I mean, I'm not surprised of how much he has. And then even there, of course, he's tanking for double digits, which is kind of a standard considering he's already super attacked. He super attacked twice and he does have guard. Now, this isn't the ideal event for him to stack too long in, but I did feel like it's kind of that middle ground. You know, we're pushing towards turn 6, maybe even turn 7. It's not overly on the long side, but one thing's for certain, and I knew this at 55%, he's going to be very good in long form content. Anything above 10 turns, he's going to be fantastic in, especially with the 90% chance to dodge in total he gets. Even the base 80 once you're in Super Baby 2. And then after that, having guard to deal with the normals while stacking, he's going to be amazing in long form content. Another great addition to the likes of Festivals of Battles as well. So he's going to be able to clear that up considering how long he can stack for. And again, you can dodge to your heart's content. So even when you get towards those 20 million plus super attacks, even though Baby would have been stacking the entire time. And there is the one occasion we haven't seen him dodge, and it wasn't my one. Even though Baby does have a ton of chance to dodge, sometimes, of course, he won't. Now, this is the rotation we've been looking for, a full corroded body and mind rotation. I did say maybe not linking with Omega would be a bit of a downside. To be fair, the only link you miss is GT, and you gain Nightmare instead, which also gives you 15% attack rather than Key +2 and attack and defense. So, I mean, you lose some defense, you lose some key. The key isn't overly important, especially when you have, like, support coming from AGL Rose. Baby has barely got to stack, so our stats aren't too high. But that is all good. Let's get him all the orbs he needs. We've got him 7. Again, he's also got Rose support going. I'm going to pop the domain for a mega next turn. So this is probably one of the better setups you can do. It just kind of depends how you want to run it. Do you want to run dual babies, where you can have 2 stackers and 2 fantastic dodge or die units that once beefed up, they do have guard. They will have 30% damage reduction as long as you can create a full corroded body and mind rotation with that fantastic corroded body and mind support, which by the way both Rosés are getting right now, hence the almost 40 mil coming from my 55% Carnival LR Rosé. Or would you rather set it up the way I've changed it to now, which is you run the baby lead, you get the corroded body and mind units you need to put onto your team so you can fill out the condition, so that every other turn there's a corroded body and mind unit in slot 3 and then one permanently on rotation next to baby, so you always have the 30% crit chance and 30% damage reduction. Because don't forget, as long as you get him 5 orbs, you will have a total of 90% crit chance, which means he's almost got guaranteed crit every time he super attacks, which means baby's not only stacking and getting stronger, both offensively and defensively, and has loads of dodge and guard and damage reduction just to kind of flesh him out just a little bit more, which of course you do want him to kind of get a few stacks under his belt so he can, you know, beef himself up to go with the guard and damage reduction. Because it's all well and good having that, but if you don't have the stats to go with it, it kind of doesn't mean all too much, as we all well and know. And then, as I said, you can permanently kind of have that corroded body and mind setup ready to go, where you run 1 baby lead to get the units you're after, and then run an Omega Shenron lead, so that way you can have 2 of his domains rather than 1. I guess it kind of just all depends what you want to go for. I haven't gone for it now, but it was one of the setups that I was considering doing, which also could work very, very well. As long as, of course, everyone goes under Omega Shenron's lead in some shape or form for a friend. But I think that could also work pretty well. If you do really want 2 Omega domains, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I think it's a pretty good idea. Then, as I said, run dual 1 baby and then run an Omega Shenron lead. And then that way you've got dual Omega Shenrons, but you still got the lead, so you can build the team the way you need to for baby. And then it all ends up lining up perfectly. So, right now, baby's in a pretty good spot. I do still believe... Who do I want to put in slot 1? I mean, last time out, the friend baby kind of let me down. Kind of let me down quite a bit. Do you know what I believe? In dodge or die, I believe. I mean, he's got like 80% chance, no, 90% chance to dodge, because he gets an extra 20% once in Super Baby 2. So, baby has a pretty good setup. I still do believe corroded body and mind could use a bit more help. That's just because the category's been dead for so many years, but it's in a much better spot than what I think a lot of people believe it actually is. And of course, what it was for so many years. But again, I do think some more units would help out quite a lot and make the corroded body and mind kind of portion of his passive a little bit more consistent. And even then, it's not a bad idea for Dokkan to carry on buffing the category. So I do think the category overall still needs help. Of course, baby can only do so much with the support and naturally leading it. But all in all, I think, which I already said using him at 55%, he probably has to be the best TUR in the game right now. Because even though he's a dodge or die unit at first, he has so much dodge chance in the events where you can dodge. Getting up to 90% dodge chance is honestly ridiculous. And then not to mention he's stacking along the way as well, and he does have possibility of additionals. You know, where are we up to now? 470. I mean, he's not stacking the quickest. But in terms of everything else, he's very good, very strong. Good damage output, stack, so the defensive possibility is there. He's got guard and damage reduction that can settle with him to help him out. I mean, to be fair, we're only on turn 5. So, to be fair, for him to be on 470 with how many times has he attacked? Twice. Not bad. Of course, any longer content where you're getting like turn 8, turn 10 and beyond, he's going to be in a much better spot and have the defensive stats, or at least somewhat of the defensive stats, to go with the guard and possible 30% damage reduction he's got to go with it. So I think now is as good a time as any to pop the active skill, by the way. And let me make sure I do that so we can see it. which does look amazing, by the way. Honestly, it just looks like we're watching a kind of updated, upscaled GT episode, which I really do appreciate because I love the way GT looks. And I think the transformation into Great Ape is so clean here as well. I think it looks so dope. But there we go. Great Ape Baby is out. And of course, once we get to Great Ape, we're pretty much doing some pretty solid chip damage for absolutely free. And then, of course, we also have the active skill that we can pop as well, which, of course, we're going to pop it because, well, why not? Where we get that big, chunky 1,700% attack on the active skill, and we can do some big, major damage. Always going to be helpful when you're kind of going for the kill shot on some more difficult enemies, or when you're kind of in that last turn and a half, 2 turns, where you're so close to beating a stage, so close to beating an event. Baby could do some big damage to put a dent in an enemy's health, to where, you know, you could eventually get the win and claim your dub. But while he's not putting out the most in terms of attack stats here, you know, it's not like Carnival LSJ4 Goku levels where he's doing like 14 million. Even with the dupe, it would have been nice if he'd done a bit more than that. But let's not forget, he is critting on every single super he does do while in a Great Ape. But still, having 2 turns or up to 2 turns of having Baby in a Great Ape, being able to do this kind of damage with guaranteed crit is not something to turn your nose up at. If this was a few years ago, I would kind of feel like, even though, again, you'd still be getting it for free, the amount of damage giant form characters used to do back in the day was so minuscule and so little that I used to just be like, I want to skip this whole thing. There was a skip button for Great Ape or giant form turns, I probably would have took it. Now, I know it's not the most, especially of how big enemy health bars are, but, you know, the damage is noteworthy. The damage is indeed noticeable. But all in all, I thought Baby was probably, not was, but is one of the best TURs, if not the best TUR in the game right now, and that was at 55%. With just one singular dupe, and also having big bad bosses at level 10, definitely. I mean, I thought it anyway, but even more so now, because not only can we hit an additional in his passive, we then have a potential of another one by having a dupe path unlocked where I've given him additional, which is going to help him out a lot, especially in shorter content where he can stack quicker. Of course, even more stacks in longer content is going to make him even better, of course. You know, Festival of Battles is a stacker's dream. Incredibly short content is literally kryptonite to stackers, although Baby does have loads of dodge if you can dodge, and there's no nullification to combat that. But the dupe and the big bad bosses is definitely making quite a bit of a difference. We might as well pop this one as well. I haven't seen this one for a little bit. My boy Rose looking so nice, so clean in this active skill. But Baby's just doing quite a lot for the team, like a lot. You know, if the team he was on just had a little bit more to it, you know, Baby's doing a lot himself. As I said, corroded body and mind support, 60% attack is a lot, especially if you're running dual Dokkanfest Babies. That is per rotation, or if there's one in slot 3, that is 120 in 1 turn. You know, he has a ton of dodge, guard and damage reduction. He needs to stack to have the stats to go with it, but when and where he can dodge, you've almost got guaranteed dodge. Guaranteed enemy scouter, as long as every single ally in the turn is an extreme class enemy, which of course, what are they? Extreme class enemies, because all of the category units you're going to be running either on Dokkanfest Baby's 220 lead, or maybe say Omega Shenrons, or maybe a mixture of both, are extreme type units. You can mix and match, but I doubt you'll probably put any superclass units on the team. They just don't link that well, they don't set up very well, and it goes against Baby's kit. And then not only that as well, you're also looking at a ton of extra attack stats while he's also stacking to where he's going to be doing decent damage and gets quite a bit of crit chance. So he's dealing solid damage, defensively can get to good spots, tons of dodge. There's the support and domain on Rose after his active skill, by the way, to help him hit 60 mil. That corroded body and mind support working hand in hand with the active and the domain right now. You love to see it. The only thing I think this team is missing that could help it a bit more is potentially like a revival. You know, if things go a little bit wrong, if Baby doesn't dodge, you know, things like that, a revival. Other than that, Baby is supplying so much between Inhuman Deeds and GT bosses and Corroded Body and Mind that not much else is needed for this team. But honestly, best TUR in the game. Hands down, the best TUR in the game. And again, watching him pull out multiple 30 million attack stats again while also stacking, and we're only on turn 6, I think shows how strong he can get. And that 30% damage reduction that we've got active right now, along with the guard, with a bit of defense, he can definitely tank all normals in the game. I think that's been shown even without the damage reduction, by the way. Because at 55%, we didn't have that active whatsoever. So I wanted to see how he did without it. And he still tanked fine for the majority. Now imagine you've hopped into any event that goes past turn 10, or specifically Festival of Battles. How do you kill Baby? Once you get into like turn 70 plus, how do you kill him with guard, damage reduction, potentially, but all of those stacks and 90% dodge chance? How do you kill him? Honestly, definitely best TUR in the entire game. My favorite TUR right now. Just a bit more Corroded Body and Mind help and support, and I think we are golden. But you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments for Dokkanfest Super Baby 2, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and peace.